He's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment. We're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martini to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Salut and welcome. Happy Tuesday. That's a little high. You don't want to see my CD collection. I actually want to take those down eventually and start putting some more action figures up there. Good to see all of you. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're enjoying your lunch, or you've started your lunch, or you're about to start your lunch. I want to say hi first to the first person I saw in here. Yeah, Netter came down to let me know, you don't have the stream up. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And then I looked, I'm like, oh, I didn't finish saving it. I put it together, I just hadn't hit save. Whoops. There we go. Happy Tuesday, Big Al of Big Al Presents. Glad to see ya. Glad to see you. As well as Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube, Fluff Chick Productions. Welcome, welcome. Jonathan Conroy says, hail all, smash the like button, and enjoy the show. I'm with him on that one. Speaking of Netter, she comes to say hello, love of my life, before requesting all of you to like, share, subscribe, become a member, do all the YouTube things, because it is so encouraging and it keeps me going. It really, really does. Sin's Corner, just in time for my lunch. Exactly the idea. Exactly the idea. Welcome, Joe. Good to see ya. Good to see you. The Sandman. Lester, Skeptic, Tank, Obsessions. Right. Very easy to lose track of time when knee-deep in work. Exactly right. But that's why you should always have a lunch built into your day, right? That's why I hope you make me a part of that lunch every day. Inflation means greed. Hello, everybody at work on my lunch break. Exactly the way to do it. Sandwich, Doritos, and orange on my menu. Need a Coors Light. There you go. Fair enough. Sandwich, Doritos, and an orange. It sounds like, my bag lunch back when I was in high school, Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Tonight is movie night. Planning on going to the theater to watch a film. She Rides Shotgun. I haven't heard of that one. Tonight, well, I mean, really anyone who wants to join in can do so over on Deleted Scenes and his affiliates, as we will talk about, or you will see in the promos. We will be watching the film The Straight Story, David Lynch film, G-rated and Disney film, which is not the common fare for David Lynch. And first time I'm seeing it, so since we are doing a lot of watching of Lynch's films and, you know, kind of digesting them, I guess I got to see it, right? I got to see it. Don't know how much bearing it'll have on our discussions of Twin Peaks, but you never know. Wanted to say quickly hi, as I have a second. You are on vacation, and you are certainly welcome to join us while you're on vacation. But I know you've got lots and lots of things planned. I hope you are. I hope you are enjoying yourself. He says Troy is awesome as always. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. You are awesome, Wade. Joe says, so what are we talking today? Well, that, my friend, is up to you. This is Tuesday Talk, where I kind of turn over the conversation to you in the chat. Now, if I'm truly honest, I give you guys a lot of leeway every day, because you guys easily get me off topic, even when I have something planned. But today specifically, I look to you to find out what it is you guys want to talk about. Highly recommend She Rides Shotgun. Saw that a couple of weeks back, and my review for it went up a few days ago. So everybody get over to Sin's Corner and check that out. If you're going to see it tonight, maybe see what Sin had to say about it first, so you know kind of what you're getting into as you go. And make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell over on Sin's channel, because she's always doing movie reviews, and she is a good person to follow. We got a lot of great movie reviewers in this community. Appreciate all of them. Yeah, did a stream last night. You work through your vacation too, I see. Like, share, subscribe, comment, become a member, and he drops $2 just as this channel member and Blue Wrench dropped a $2 super chat on me just to ask you guys to like, share, subscribe, comment, and become a member. Guys, for his sake, do all those things, please. It's so important. It really, really is. Okay, so I just finished watching Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated show, and it takes some real wild swings. Have you seen it? No, I don't think I have. Is that the new one, Joe? The one with the diversity added to it, and kind of a weird take on his costume? The very, very recent animated series that they did? I don't know that one. Oh, that's what we do around here, Sin. You know that. You know that. When it comes to reviews, Sin has the really great professional in-depth reviews. Big Al has the really neat, quick 10-word reviews, so that you could just get it real quick and get going. Wilkie's Movies and Music, another great one for reviews, and all of y'all should be going over to Criticless. Forget the Rotten Tomatoes and all the other produce channels and sites. Get to Criticless, and then after you see what other people have to say, and you go see that movie, then you go and give your own opinion over there on Criticless, right? Okay, so yeah, just finished watching it. I don't think I have seen it. Let's see. Yes, it was the most recent one from Marvel Studios. Well, see, that's just it. Anything recent from Marvel Studios, I pretty much avoid at this point. So, I'd love to know what you thought about it, Joe. About the movie we watched last night, How to Train Your Dragon, early concepts actually had the story based in China. This was years production, years before production got going. Well, I'm glad they changed course on that one. That would have gone over like a fart in a church. Fantastic Four's collapse is a shame. Second good MCU movie anchored by the weight of bad content since Endgame. Yeah. You know what? You basically summed it up. I think I mentioned this yesterday when we talked about this a little bit. That at this point, it doesn't even matter if the film is good. They've lost all of their momentum, all of their fan goodwill. It's like killing the golden goose, So it's their own fault. We tried to warn them. We told them. They have known all along what the fans wanted and what they didn't want. They didn't care. They blamed us. They said, you will take what we give you. Well, guess what? We're not doing it. And now you're left, selling off action figures at Ollie's. Good on you, Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is a parallel MCU. I'm getting sick of parallel timelines. Do one thing and do it right. Pick one timeline and get it right. Timelines they're using as, let's try this. Let's throw that at the wall. Let's throw that at the wall. No. Get it right the first time or don't do it. You're supposed to be professionals. Professional storytellers. They're not. Where Norman Osborn, instead of Tony, mentors Peter, there is no redhead MJ, and Peter is dating some weird boss chick, of course. And isn't one of the other supporting characters like a trans person or something like that? Trans person of color or something like that? I think the Fantastic Four was doomed. I see what you did there. To fail because it was entirely It is entirely miscast, and Franklin Rogers was added when they discovered Vanessa Kirby was pregnant. That's the kind of thing you do when you're on an ongoing television series. That's not something you do with a movie. In a movie, you tell her, look, if you're having a baby, you're not doing this movie. There should be something in the contract about that. You don't change the movie to accommodate the actress. If you sign on to do a role, then you don't get pregnant. You plan. We live in an era where we know how babies work and how to have babies and how not to have babies. This is the same woman whose baby, she's having a baby with a guy that she's engaged to while she's fawning all over Pedro Pascal at public events. I have no compassion for that. That is not an excuse for why you take a story you should be leading up to and front load it. That's as stupid as making Batman, The Dark Knight Returns graphic novel, making that your upfront story in your Snyderverse. That's something you lead up to at the end of all your movies. That's the capper on your shared universe after you've done like 10 years worth of movies. And you're like, okay, I'm done. You're going to have to reboot it. This is how we end our universe. That's not what you do. And that's what Franklin is too. You're supposed to give us an origin. You give us the development of these characters. You give the dynamic. You eventually get to, like in your third movie, she should be mentioning she's pregnant. They squash too much into this movie. In addition to all the nonsense the MCU studios, directors, actors said to and about their fans, the quality of the writing was hugely downgraded. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. You don't do a moderately okay movie like Fantastic Four and go, hey, they're doing better. No, that's bare minimum. You don't congratulate them and give them an award for showing up and actually making a decent film. There's also speculation that Franklin is included in the story in order to fix the mess created by the multiverse they made. Okay, but from everything I've heard, they didn't actually do anything with that. I mean, I guess maybe they've got a hook planned. Maybe they've got, something going into Doomsday or something. It's not going to matter because this dropped off so badly. That's a huge indicator that people aren't interested, and they're not going to show up for Doomsday either. And part of the reason people aren't showing up, the whole idea, we got to watch Fantastic Four because this is the lead into Doomsday. No, because you already got us with Captain Marvel, right? You got to watch Captain Marvel before Endgame, and it turns out, no, we didn't. And so all the people that went and saw it were like, I saw this shit movie for no reason? The hell? So they burned any goodwill they had. They can't go back to that well anymore. In my view, high-budget animated movies will be the norm for comic book films. That's actually a good idea. That's probably not a bad way to do it. What Spider-Verse movies can do visually, like live action can't. Put a pin in that. I like that. I want to come back to that. Animation, you can go zany and surreal, but not so much live action. So we were talking about this last night. In the members movie night last night, we watched the 2025 live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. And one of the things I talked about was, if you're going to make a remake of something, especially if you're changing medium, right? Whether you're making a book into a movie, whether you're making a cartoon or animated feature into a live action feature, the first thing you must do is ask yourself the question, why are you doing it? And I would argue that things like taking a book and turning it into a movie is to introduce it to maybe a whole new generation of people. You may not be able to put everything that's in the book into a movie, so it's like, hey, I'm just giving you the basic story. If you enjoy it, go check out the book. In theory, the comics are the same way. The comics, some of these stories are 30, 40 years old. Yes, you can go buy those back issues, but this is kind of like when you re-release a film, right? You get that story out there again, get people interested in the comics, and then they start going and buying the comics and stuff. But why do it live action? Is it necessary? Is it always a good way? And maybe it is. Because let's face it, the Avengers movies were pretty good in live action. But yeah, Into the Spider-Verse works really, really good for Spider-Man. And especially when you consider what is live action and what is animation. If your Spider-Man character is mostly CG, guess what, guys? That's just another kind of animation. So you might as well make the whole movie animated. Just saying, then you never have to worry about who your actor is. It's much easier to recast when necessary. They never age up, so you can, never have to worry about that aspect of it. And yeah, it's a lot easier for Spider-Man to do the flips and the tumbles and the whatnot that you're going to do through CG anyway, right? Gal Gadot was pregnant during the filming of Wonder Woman, during the first one. They didn't add a Wonder Baby. They CG'd her tummy flat. Okay, well, If the studio is willing to do that, then good on them. But yeah, I think it's very unprofessional. It's very unprofessional. I think getting pregnant when you are going into filming a role is irresponsible. I think what's just as irresponsible is a decision not to shave your mustache. You know what? A mustache will grow back in a couple of weeks. Shave it off, film the role, be a professional, and grow the mustache back if you absolutely must. You moron. He's done in Hollywood. He's still under contract, so you're still going to see him in a bunch of movies, but no one is going to see the movies he's in anymore. So they're going to stop signing him up. His career is coming to an end. Troy, my first son was planned. He was a happy accident. Wasn't planned. He was a happy accident. Matter of fact, my wife was on a medication back then, told her she wouldn't be able to get pregnant. So my Sam's a miracle. That's wonderful. Was your wife working in construction? Or was your wife an acrobat or an actress or a fashion model under contract so that it was irresponsible of her to have gotten pregnant? I mean, this is the kind of thing we're talking about. You make your choices. And usually, if you are married and living the family life, you go about your routine as husband and wife, not too concerned. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't, because we are, living that life. But got to make your choices and live with the responsibilities. And look, if your wife was working as a radiation technician in a hospital like my mother was when she got pregnant with me, she said, you know what? I'm going to have to change jobs now. You make your choices. They didn't do anything with that yet as far as Franklin is concerned, but it's assumed that's the plan. So this character is introduced as a deus ex machina, which, let's face it, Franklin kind of was in the comics. That's also bad writing. Fantastic Four should have been an origin story. It hurt the film that it wasn't. I kind of agree with you, but I kind of disagree. I do think that there is no one right answer to this. I've heard a lot of people saying we need to get away from doing origin stories. No. Origin stories are necessary for characters people don't know. Spider-Man, they've done his origin story so many damn times. We know how he becomes Spider-Man. That's why when they got to the Tom Holland Spider-Man, they didn't have to do another origin story. It's just keep going. If they saw Tobey Maguire and they saw Andrew Garfield and Nicholas Hammond, they know his origin story. So let's just move on and start telling Spider-Man stories. They could have done the same thing with Fantastic Four. They kind of did, if you think about it. They just kind of give you a brief summation of the origin. They did the same thing with the Hulk, right? You got your origin story with the Eric Bana story. Then when they get to Ed Norton, they're like, we'll just kind of gloss over that. You get an opening credits montage, and then we'll move on. At this point, we know his origin story. And I think they could have done the same thing, and they kind of did do the same thing with Fantastic Four. If you saw Fan Four Stick, fine. Not many people did. If you saw the Jessica Alba, Sue Storm, first movie, you got it there. If you've been one of those people that saw the far superior Corman film that's out there on the internet, you know the story too. let's just move on and integrate these characters into. That would have been much better if the plan had been, this isn't a separate universe. This is, hey, you know what? This happened in the 60s in the Marvel Universe. Just like they did with Ant-Man and the Wasp. Hank Pym back in the 50s. He was a thing, and now he's, history and another generation's taken over. They could have done the same thing with the Fantastic Four. They could have started them a little bit, started Sue a little bit younger, had someone a little younger playing the Pedro role, right? And then age them up in the next movie and give him the gray on the sides, and, maybe Sue's starting to get a little bit of the crow's feet or whatever. They could have done that, and they didn't. They decided to keep playing around with their stupid, multiverse parallel stuff. You can give your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man a chance, Troy. I watched it as an Elseworld. No, I'm not doing that. I don't want to, have to go through mental gymnastics and think of it as a what if or an Elseworld or whatever. And Disney certainly doesn't need my eyeballs. They haven't earned it. There are much better, even without seeing it or knowing anything about it, there are much better Spider-Man animated series that I grew up with. I don't need their new modern take on things, Norman Osborn gives Peter lots of suits. Daredevil is also there, investigating Oscorp, and I've also got the comics too. I don't need their cartoon. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really am. Keep watching it, keep enjoying it. After Secret Wars, Franklin Richards' power to manipulate reality. They will use him to fix all the mistakes they made, basically erasing everything after Infinite Wars, except they're going to screw that up. Actually, at this point, there should be a story where he gets kidnapped by Wanda. Just saying. It would make perfect sense. Am I trying to pick and choose the things that keep from the mess they made that they shouldn't? Yeah, I guess so. Miles Morales is apparently off limits. Oh, jeez. Till Spider-Verse trilogy finishes. Kevin Feige confirms this. Good or bad? It sounds like they're shackling themselves the way DC did for decades. This whole idea, well, you can use these characters, but you can't use these characters, and those characters are off. You can't do that. It either has to be all on the table or leave it all the F alone. Marvel has enough problems with characters that Sony has, characters that Universal has, that they don't have lock, stock, and barrel. It's... If they're going to arbitrarily make up narrative reasons not to use these characters, that's just... trying to fight a fight with both hands tied behind your back. Gal was pregnant during some reshoots of Wonder Woman. I don't think she was during the bulk of... Okay, well, that's really a different thing then, right? Because it's like, hey, I did all my what do they call it? I did all my principal photography. Okay? Now I'm moving on with my life. Oh, you want me to come back and do reshoots? Well, you got to figure this out. I got a mustache and I got a belly bump, You guys are going to have to figure this out if you want me to come back and reshoot some stuff, that you didn't get during, because you didn't plan it out well enough. I think the future of superhero movies is in AI, super realistic, AI-generated actors looking comic book accurate and the ability to jump and flip like people can't. Did you see the AI clip that's going around of, it's actually a series of clips of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman and Henry Cavill's Superman on vacation. And it's like done like it's a selfie thing. Oh my God, it's so good. So realistic. It's the kind of thing where you got to stop and go, is this real? Is this something that these two did? And then you realize, oh, okay, it's AI generated, but you go, that's way too real. That's scary real. You know? I agree to a point that origin stories are overdone. Exactly. Spider-Man, Batman, Superman do not need to keep being redone over and over again. We've got so many versions of them out there, you just get the idea. And if there is some little element that needs to be specified, like with Superman, did he come to Earth as a baby, or did they put his gestation pod on a hyperdrive and he was technically born on Earth? If that's part of your plot point that's important, you can always specify that in dialogue. But the broad strokes of the origin, people already know. Just go ahead and move on with it. Some other characters aren't widely known for their origin stories, like I disagree with you, though, about Fantastic Four. I think Fantastic Four has had enough movies already that they fall in just like Batman and Superman. You know? They and it's not like there was no origin given for them. We got the broad strokes of it retold in their opening part of the movie, the prologue or whatever. But you can make that argument. That's fine. Yeah, we can get an origin story for the Fantastic Four, but then do it all the way, right? If you're going to do an origin story, do it all the way, and set it in your 60s. Do the whole, beat the Russians to space thing, and give us the follow-up, right? And then you give us the Doctor Doom origin. That's the one big thing that I'm surprised nobody's talking about. If you were going to introduce Doctor Doom, give us his origin story, because it's intimately tied to the Fantastic Four. You didn't just pop into existence and take off his mask and start playing with Franklin, Before I get any farther, let me get to those promos. Let me let you know what's coming up this week. There's a whole lot, especially in the next day or so. So let's check that out while I refill my drink, and I'll be back in just under 3 minutes.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together. This week on Live from Sparkwood and 21, we'll be watching David Lynch's 1999 biographical road drama about Alvin Strait, a 73-year-old man who learns that his estranged brother Lyle is critically ill. Unable to drive, Alvin embarks on a journey from Iowa to Mount Zion, riding a lawnmower. Join us this Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
Callie is dead, a victim of Servalan's booby-trapped bequest of a planet. The Liberator has been destroyed. With Avon colder than ever, the crew must raise the will to fight on for their lives. Cue the enigmatic Dorian with an escape route off-terminal and the offer of friendship. The team needs a rescue. This Tuesday on Last Call presents Blake 7 at 10 p.m. Central, 11 Eastern.
This Thursday night, Netter sits down with the guy who created the 10-word review, Big Al of Big Al Presents. You probably know him and his channel, but if not, you should, and here's your chance. This Thursday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, on Netter's Network.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, while matchmaking for friends and neighbors, a young 19th century English woman nearly misses her own chance at love. Cupid is armed and dangerous. Big Al presents Gwyneth Paltrow in Jane Austen's Emma, this week on Films with Friends, Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Papa Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it somewhere else, but Boomer and Pacelli put a spin on it you likely won't hear anywhere else. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
Marvel and DC are considering animated films in theaters. Live action productions is very expensive, and you can dish out more animated flicks than live action. That's absolutely brilliant. I mean, probably the biggest problem that we've been complaining about is your production costs are so high, you can't break even. You're not getting the butts in seats in order to cover that. You could do a lot more animated features a lot faster and a lot cheaper. Here's the other thing, too. People don't really think about this in terms of modern animation, but you have so much of this modern animation that's done in the computer. You build these models in the computer, and you have them in perpetuity. You don't have to recreate them. So, it's kind of like back when they did Star Trek. They'd create a set like the bridge, and then if they created a new set for another bridge or for a alien planet or something, where do you keep all of those sets? You have to break them down and rebuild them over time. You don't have to do that with you just save it on a hard drive somewhere. We want to go back to these characters that I'll just pull them out off the flash drive and throw them in and re-render them. I saw that Alba Fantastic Four that had an origin. I'll have to dig up the Corman. Yes. In fact, you know what? I really should have made that. I think I might add that into the to the poll. I got to see where we're at on the poll here. You know what? While I'm on with you guys, why don't I go ahead and check that out right now? You go to my studio, which will get me to my channel, which will get me to the posts, and wait a minute. You guys apparently want to watch Happy Gilmore this week. There's only 3 votes from the members, but we got 2 votes for Happy Gilmore and 1 for 28 Years Later. No votes for Megan, which was in 3rd place last time, and I don't see any write-ins yet. So maybe I can't edit it, can I? Yeah, unless I were to just end the poll and do it again. Maybe I'll do that for the week after Monday, a week from this Monday. I'll add to the poll. Maybe we can make the Corman Fantastic Four one of the members' films. It's lunchtime. Sorry I'm late. Out watching trains. Of course you are, because what else would you be doing right now? Looks like Star Trek Starfleet Academy has been canceled. If true, good riddance. Yes. I saw, maybe it was you that sent it to me, Mark. Clownfish TV did a video about that. So, as opposed to, finding out before a show starts that, they've been renewed for a 2nd season, and then, it's just really because it was contract and they were going to make it whether the show did well or not. Starfleet Academy is just the opposite. They haven't even gotten the 1st season out, they just got the 1st season out. I don't know. And they're saying, yep, we're canceling it. There won't be a 2nd season. That is very clearly Skydance saying, yep, we're done with Kurtzman Trek. We are done with Kurtzman Trek. So, I believe, and I'm going to reiterate this, I really do believe that necessarily all of Kurtzman Trek has to be mothballed. All of that has to go out of canon. Because rights, it has nothing to do with what we want to happen. It has to do with legal rights. They're going to have to, if they're going to continue Star Trek in anything like the Prime universe that people want, it's going to have to ignore the canon of everything the Kurtzman Trek did. It has to. Otherwise, they have to recontract with Kurtzman. And every indication is that they're not planning to do that. If I still cared about the MCU, I'd say good for them that they're not using Miles, the most overrated Marvel character today. Yeah, it is. I am glad you pointed the importance of comic accuracy, Troy. It's jarring to see MCU Spider-Man because important supporting characters are missing. Yes, one of the reasons I don't like Sony Marvel deal. Well, this is a problem with all of these shared universes, at least the way they're doing them now. Not so much how it started, how it started and how it's going. How it's going, they don't give a crap about supporting characters except to fill their quotas for race gender changes. But the way they should be doing this is do a Superman movie, how about Superman? Do a Spider-Man movie, how about Spider-Man? And all the supporting characters should be the supporting characters of that main character, right? Make the story about Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, Perry White, Cat Grant, all the people that he works with. Make them characters, give them names, give them lines, make us care about them. Why? Because the main character cares about them, and they are defining on him. They just like the people in your life have an impact on your life, right? That's how characters work. But they're just set dressing for, we got to get all these other main characters from other movies in to cross-pollinate. That's not good storytelling. I don't like Miles Morales or Spider-Gwen or Spider-Pig. They're just too many damn spider people. Yeah. And again, this is all of that multiversal nonsense. Miles Morales is the only one that you might be able to argue in a little bit of a rebootiness. He could be like the next generation Spider-Man, right? Even while Parker is still out there being Spider-Man, there's the other Spider-Man, They've tried doing that. They haven't done it very successfully. I don't know. And I will say this also about Miles. One of the things that I like about Miles is, unlike all the other race swaps out there, he is his own character. He is not just, Black Peter Parker, Troy, what's your review of for Snyderverse? Just curious. I have not watched the Snyder Cut. And I pretty much dropped out of the whole Snyderverse as soon as he snapped Zod's neck. I was done with it. Refused to have anything to do with it. The only films that I've seen that, and I'm not even sure they really count as being in the Snyderverse. They do, but they don't. Shazam. I haven't seen the sequel, even though I have it on DVD. I haven't seen Black Adam, even though I have that one on DVD. I will get around to those. I think that's it. And Man of Steel, I'm like, okay, I was done. I'm like, this is not Superman. I could just as easily go watch Brightburn or Hancock, as watch the MCU. Or the Snyderverse. Stick with Peter Parker and build an organic bridge to the next guy. Yeah, it makes sense. Wilkie's Movies and Music. His ears must have been itching because we were talking about him at the beginning of the show. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Make sure you're subscribed to his channel. He just applied for monetization, so maybe you can become one of his first members. It's funny, despite AI being better than it was 3 years ago, I, for some reason, can tell it's AI because than I could back then. Well, I'll tell you what, part of that is, Samuel Procter, think about the progression that we've seen of computer graphics imaging, all this CG that they're using these days, right? It was really good when that first Jurassic Park movie came out. And over time, they started taking shortcuts and cutting corners, and it got worse. And then it got overused. Look, every tool, you don't drive a screw with a hammer. You don't drive a nail with a screwdriver, and that's what a lot of people are doing. Everything's a hammer to these people. So right tool for the right job. I think even when you have CG, even when you have AI, you're still going to need live actors, right? Even with animation, even in throughout the age of hand-drawn animation, they still did rotoscoping, even if they weren't actually rotoscoping, they used human actors to dance and stuff like that, so the artist could see the flow of motion to try and recapture that in their artwork. But we're also still so early on in this AI-generated stuff. It will get better. And it requires somebody to actually be there at the helm, an editor who goes in and looks and goes, nope, there's 6 toes there. We need to, limit the number of toes. There should be 5 fingers, 5 toes, 2 legs, 2 arms, and 1 head. Okay? Sometimes you need that, that background character is phasing through the wall. We got to fix that too, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I think there needs to be, with AI, right now AI is free association in the computer sphere. And they need to start putting limitations on it the way they do with physics engines in computer games. Let's see here. Mask of the Phantasm. I still remember the buzz around that. The other animated feature back in those days. Yeah, that was a good one. I would say, and welcome, Curtis. I don't think I said hi to you earlier on. I would suggest you are gaining levels of wisdom, Samuel, would quickly, then AI is evolving. Yeah. So that's just it, right? Your eye starts to catch that uncanniness. So the technology has to continue to up its game. Welcome, John Doe Juggalo. Good to see you, my friend. And I saw one YouTuber saying that Kurtzman can shop his Starfleet Academy 2nd season to another network, but he can't because it's still under the Star Trek license. And if Kaidan says no, that's it. That's absolutely true. Keep in mind, the example I always use is 20th Century Fox, I think it was 20th Century Fox, and Warner Brothers, who had a shared interest in the Adam West Batman, right? When 3 seasons after that ended, if 20th Century Fox wanted to continue doing the Batman series and Warner Brothers said, nope, you're done, no more Batman, you could do another series with Adam West and Burt Ward and, have them, solving crimes together and being silly, but you couldn't do it with them referring to each other as Batman and Robin, And then what's the point? Everything was better when there was one Spider-Man. He is not a title. He is Peter Parker. Yeah, and that goes to the character, right? People get invested in a character, not in a brand, right? They care about... I cared... Well, especially with Marvel characters. You cared about those characters because most of the comic wasn't even about Spider-Man. It was about Peter Parker and his interaction with Aunt May and his not being able to make enough money. So he's freelancing as a photographer and trying to go to school and trying to be responsible with his superpowers and have a dating life. And every time something would go tits up, you'd be like, oh, God, I know exactly what he's going through. I don't even have superpowers, and I know what it's like going through all that crap. You know? You don't just swap that out. You don't just make people forget about that. The first Jurassic Park movie and Terminator 2 didn't just rely on CG. This is exactly what I was saying, Nate. Yeah. Sometimes you thought it was CG and it wasn't. It was actually a practical effect. And they would look and they'd go, can we do that practically? It doesn't look right. It really looks robotic. Maybe we should touch that up with some CG, But sometimes your old-fashioned model work or, whatever is the way to go. I'll even say that sometimes it's good to homage other techniques. So, for example, we see it all the time with lighting, right? You want to do something that's set in the past, you desaturate it a little bit. It's subtle, but your brain kind of picks up on it. But my favorite is in the Mummy with Brandon Fraser. There's this scene where he's fighting a bunch of mummies, and they're CG mummies. And they look CG, but they look CG in that way that it's like, especially the older audience is like, I know what they're doing here. They were paying an homage to Ray Harryhausen and his stop motion animation. They were purposely going less fluid and less realistic because they wanted it to look a little bit like that Ray Harryhausen look. I'm like, that's clever. That's kind of genius. In the old animation days, there was rotoscoping and live referenced ones, but then there was also some animators that used pure skill and imagination straight from their head. Absolutely, and that's how you end up with different animation styles, right? Where you can look at it and go, oh, that's, for example, the perfect example for this is Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty actually has a number of different animation styles within the same film. There was some rotoscoping. There was some. If they did it today, it probably would have been like the whole 3D computer thing. But they used different levels and multiple plane animation feature styles and whatnot. But then look at just the art style of Sleeping Beauty as opposed to Snow White, for example. You could tell that a different artist came up with the conceptual key panels that sets the tone for the film. There was a couple of the 9 old men in Disney that preferred that way. Yeah. Animators like Ward Kimball preferred the stylized cartoony characters like Lucifer the Cat in Cinderella. Yeah. The kind of things that don't translate well to live action, in my opinion. But we know this, Troy. They cannot CGI you and Netter. Yeah, I know. You've been trying and you've been having a hard time. It's been a little bit hit and miss. I've noticed that they can't get Netter's hair color right, and I look... I'm not saying I'm the most fit guy, but some of those turn out pretty round, big boy Troy. So anyway, that's the show for today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and chit-chatting. That's what Tuesday Talk is all about. Tomorrow it'll be WTF Wednesday. I don't know what I'll be railing about tomorrow, but it'll be something. Glad that before we end the stream, I get to say, Booger! Good to see you, Booger. I'm just stopping by to say hi here at the end. That's fair. That's perfectly fair. Next up, of course, is live live from Sparkwood in 21 at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. We'll be watching David Lynch's The Straight Story, followed immediately thereafter by the season 4 premiere of Blake 7. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for Liquid Lunch. Get back to work. Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.